Hello and welcome to Mr. Ridley's Design and Technology. In this clip we're going to look at making some models for 40K or for 28mm battles. We've got some ruined buildings here, there's one here, and we've got a slightly simpler one here to do. So let's get started with these. Okay, let's have a look at the equipment we're going to use. We're going to be using a steel ruler, a glue stick, this is a regular glue stick, a pair of scissors. I've got a craft knife here, and also we'll be using a hot glue gun. We'll also need one of these sheets. This is a sheet for one of the buildings. This has got a set of instructions which we're just going to go through here, a picture of the completed building and a little assembly drawing, and this one has two part sheets. So we've got part sheet 1 and part sheet 2. So for a first stage in manufacture, we're going to take the scissors and we're just going to cut out. In fact, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to cut down here to cut the kind of main. We've also got some posters there, propaganda posters, which we can put on later, but we won't need them for the minute. So we can put this piece to the side, the instructions, and keep that, and we can look at these sheets here. So we've got the two sheets here, part sheets. You can see that says part sheet 1, and what I'm going to do, if you can see these dotted lines here, I'm just going to cut along the dotted lines. You can see there's a little cut thing there, and get these ready. Now, when we're cutting these out, when we're cutting out the final shapes, we need to take care, but we can just, it isn't vital to cut as long as we don't cut into the actual parts. So we just trim out the two parts sheets. So the first stage in manufacture there, we've got the two part sheets cut out, ready to go. Once we've done that, the next stage is to mount these onto board. Now, I'm going to use this modelling board. This is, it is corrugated cardboard, but it's just fine. It's kind of a finer texture. You could use corrugated board, you could use foam board, you could even use a cornflake packet. So I'm going to take this part here. I'm going to use the glue stick. Now, the best way I've found here is actually covering the paper, getting a good coverage here, and I've cut this, obviously I've cut this modelling board into smaller squares to manage. You could use with what size you want, but I've cut it there, and I'm also going to add it to the board. And I just found that, I mean, you could use spray mount here, but I just find this method of coating both surfaces. You can see I've coated that generously, I've coated that, then I'm going to just rub that down. You could use that just to, and you can see that that is nice, there's no wrinkles, that's nice. And then I'm just going to put that aside for a couple of minutes just for the glue to dry, because I've used quite a lot of glue there. Really just needs 5 minutes for the glue to dry. Okay, we've left that for a few minutes now, and I've got my modelling knife and my steel ruler, and you can see the glue's dry now. It's, and what I'm going to do is now I'm going to take a little bit more care, and I'm going to use the steel ruler. It's important we use the steel ruler. We've also got a cutting mat here, which I don't think I mentioned earlier. Then we line up, so we can see the steel ruler. I'm going to line it up with the edge there, and I'm just going to make one, two, you need one cut. When we've got these lines, you can follow these lines and trim them later. Now, these lines from the edges of the buildings can always be just finished later, but now for cutting out the windows we can use the steel ruler, and what you want to aim to do with the windows is to cut from the corners out. So if you cut into the corner there, move that up so you can see what I'm doing, into the corner there and away, and into the corner. So if you can see that, and then that piece just comes out. So just show you that again, I'm going to cut into the corner, got a nice sharp knife, cut. So just go round into each corner. And there's our building parts. Okay, so I'm just going to finish that. With these rougher edges, which are the sort of rubble edges, you can kind of freeform those a little bit. I've done a wiggly line. If you find you can't manage that wiggly line, you can kind of do your own thing. So you can see there, and with a little bit more effort, we've got the two side pieces. So I've cut out now the two side pieces for my building. Now what I've done with these, you saw that they were done with modelling board. I just took a time to just put a little bit of grey primer on the back, just so that when our building's assembled we've got a stone texture on the outside and just a plain kind of grey texture on the other side. So that's the two main parts. We've just got to cut out the base. The next stage is to cut out the base. We've got this here, which is the base plate sheet. This is part sheet 2. You can see we've done the same thing there. So we're just going to use the steel ruler here and cut out make cuts there and there. Once again with this, we can be fairly approximate with this. It's a random shape, as long as we match it. Mostly there. We can cut that, and then it's just a case of trimming off those edges. See, we've just got some little corners there to trim off. Once we've done that, we've got our base here, and we've got our two other pieces that we've made previously. So the next stage now is to just fit these all together to finish our building. Okay, and if you want to make a more complex building, I've got this ruined building sheet 3. These sheets, you can get these sheets from my TS shop, or you could just create your own using any sort of CAD program. But if you look here, we've got part sheet 1, which is the side walls, part sheet 2, which is the front walls, a base plate, sheet 3, and sheet 4, which is some floors and a roof part. So if we did that same process, cutting those out, sticking them onto card, cutting them out, we'd end up with these parts here. And quite simply with this, if we just, again, our hot glue along the base here, and there's our front wall there. Now again, if we cut that square, that will hold that square while it dries. We can just add, this one's just a bit more complicated, but not really too bad. You put thin beads of the hot glue. You're almost better to put not enough, and then you can always add a little bit, rather than trying to do like there. I can always add a bit into there and just hold it while it dries. So there's my corner, and then hold that with a bit of tape. Then for the floor here, I'll just show you putting that bit in. I'll do that bit later. If I put yeah, and I say you can use super glue in this. think that was my problem, there wasn't enough coming out. And then this lines up just with the top of the windows there, and you can see we've lined that up just with the top of the windows there. So there's our, and there's the completed building. So you can see we've got a section of floor here, we've got a damaged part of roof. I've stuck that all together. I also went round the edges, so I got a Sharpie pen, and just where these cut edges were, I've just put those in, and that just gives the building a bit more of a finished appearance. No matter if you make a few marks there. So that's the larger building section completed. There's a smaller section here which is just 2 walls, and these will kind of work together as a building. And I think I showed you also at the start this one, which has just a section of floor. So we've got these buildings. You can see that just to kind of add to the detail, I've added some propaganda posters here just for the look. So those ones, I created this sheet of propaganda posters. You can download these. If you search on the internet, you can download these quite simply, but this one is one I created. What I've done with those is I've just carefully cut them out, and you can see I've got a couple of them cut out here, a few here, and I'll just show you putting these on the building. So these are easy to do. You just get a glue stick, take your propaganda poster that you've cut out, a little bit of glue, and where can we put it? There. Put that one on there. Put it up the right way. Put that one there. They don't even have to be put on straight. You know, you can put them on straight. Let's have a go with this one. Can't even put them inside. There's one inside. And for the larger ones, I've just stuck this one onto a piece of card. I've gone again round the outside with the Sharpie pen and stuck it to a piece of off-cut card, and we can just put that there. So there's our completed, might add a few more later, but there's our completed building. As I say, you can build these up into a set. So that's our completed Warhammer building.